Hello everyone, welcome back to Siblings A and J Gardening. As you can see, the weeds are rampant. We've been getting a lot of rain, and I just caught a squirrel in the garden, and look what he's done. And there's a red tomato here that I can see. Look at that. That's just ridiculous. It's to the point where you can't have anything. This was look at this tomato. Let me make it smaller. This was a nice sized tomato. Look at that. Eat it and then leave. I just don't understand it. And then they'll go to another tomato and do the same thing. Look at this. Another nice red big tomato. I don't know, we've got to do something about this squirrel. A little bitty squirrel ran over there. Man, I tell you, the weeds are just taking over there. I just took a weed eater to this stuff 3 days ago, and it's grown back up again. This looks like a cherry tomato plant. We had one that died, and I think this is a cherry tomato here. I still haven't had time to get the Velcro to stake these up, but I'm gonna have to make time. I'm gonna have to run back in the shed and see if I can find the Velcro. Oh my goodness. Here's another red tomato that darn squirrel has gotten to. Look at that. That is a nice big red tomato. Wow. If anyone viewing this video, here's another red tomato. This is the third one that a squirrel has gotten into. How do you deter the squirrels from taking your red tomatoes? And here's number 4. This is just unbelievable. We have never had this much trouble with squirrels getting into our tomatoes. I'm sure you can hear the aggravation in my voice because I am very aggravated. The 4 big, nice red tomatoes the squirrel has gotten into. Here's one here. Let's see if it's gotten into this one. Oh my gosh. Yes, it has. Look at that. It looks like the rain is coming in, so I'm not going to get to do what I need to do again. But I am so disgusted right now. Every red tomato, every red huge tomato, the squirrel has gotten in and damaged. And even some of the big green tomatoes. I couldn't find my Velcro, so I had to fix it with this string here, which is taking a long time. With the Velcro, you can just put it on and you can take it off and put it in different places. That's what I like about the Velcro. I'm gonna ask Jeffrey, has he seen it? Because I had bought plenty, but I'm only gonna get to do a few more of these because I need to hurry up and pick what I can pick before the rain comes. And for those of you who are saying I'm aggravated because the squirrel got in my tomatoes, I am. And if anyone has a foolproof idea of how to get rid of squirrels in your garden, please, please, please leave me something in the comments. I did the best I could with the time that I have to get those. I need to go through and trim them a little more and try to find that Velcro, but I'm going to get on over here to the okra and the cucumbers. Jeffrey ran the tiller through here, let's see, 3 days ago, and look at the weeds already. He ran it that day, and then that night, the next day, and the next day we got rain. Everything wants to grow. This is what I picked this evening, and I'm gonna go over here and show you what else I picked. I had to throw some of the cucumbers out because they were just too big. I wish we had a pig or something. And then that's what I picked. And then I have 1 red tomato and 1 green tomato. Isn't the sky pretty tonight? This is what I picked today. I had to pitch probably a good 10 cucumbers that I missed yesterday. I had a really nice harvest yesterday, so I really can't complain about today. The cucumbers have a lot of blooms on them, but they appear to be slowing down, which is typical this time of the year. They don't seem to be dying back or anything, and leaves burning up, which typically happens when they're getting ready to die, but they're not producing as much, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try to do a few more runs of dill pickles. I don't know if I'm going to do the bread and butter now. I think I'll just stick with the dill. I say that, and look, I found these cucumbers. They hide in plain sight. And this is a zucchini plant. As you can see, it's starting to die back. When we say die back, we mean the leaves are starting to lay down and touch the ground. There's a lot of weeds in there. We didn't really try to weed this area because the leaves are so big on the squash and zucchini that we think that would shield the majority of the weeds. But it looks like the weeds have done a pretty good job over here. But like I said, this is what we mean when we say dying back. And this is the first one that was planted, and it's appearing to die back. And this is all I picked of the zucchini today. I'm gonna make another round of that chocolate zucchini bread. I just had a thought as I was getting in the car. I was picking a few of the hot peppers. I thought I would research online to find some type of hot pepper spray I could make to put on the tomatoes. And this is what Jeffrey uses. I decided to look in the shed. So this is what I'm going to spray on these peppers. I'll buy him some more, but I'm still going to research online to find a spray that I can make out of the peppers that we've already planted. As you can see, I'm going to have to get the lawnmower out and the weed eater to clean up around the tomatoes. But I've got something for that squirrel now. I'm going to spray it with this hot pepper spray. I'm out here checking these tomatoes. I sprayed them with hot pepper spray last night. And look what we have here. The squirrel still got into the tomatoes. Oh, I just don't know. There's another tomato that was trying to turn. I don't know what to do. I like to make salsa. I like to make chow. Here's another red one that he's gotten into. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have any success unless we find a remedy for this squirrel. I just checked the last four, or the first four zucchini. No, these are squash, yellow squash. They have little bitty ones on them, but this is the time of year that they just start to die back. These are quite small. They're nice and tender, but I'm going to leave those on for one more day. And I will pick those tomorrow. But these are slowly stopping producing, as well as the cucumbers. I'm going to try to make one more round of the dill pickles. Oh, sorry about the alarm. I was going to take those alarms up because they hadn't been going off sometimes. I'm wondering if somebody's turning them off. I think it's safe to say I missed one. Good zucchini bread. These are the pole beans. They're really not producing very well. We got a late start in getting them in the ground. And by the time we got the little trellis up, the weeds had kind of built up so much around them, and they had wrapped around the weeds. So this was my first try. Next year I'm gonna get them in the ground a little earlier. That's all I got. of the okra today. I thought it was gonna start really producing like we had success last year. And last year was the first time we had had success in years with the okra. So we'll see. I took the weed eater and trimmed around the okra and around the tomatoes. Tried to get a few areas by the cucumbers as well, even though they're dying back. Makes it easier to pick if you have some of the weeds out of the way. I have really slacked off on the weeds this year. I just haven't had the time to get out here, and neither has Jeffrey. Not like in past years. We're doing the best we can. So if it looks a little scraggly out here, that's why. This isn't a very big harvest. Things are starting to die back now. And we may get another surge. If so, I'll try to make at least a couple more rounds of my dill pickles. I don't know what I'm gonna do about my tomatoes. Got to think of something because I'd like to at least get a nice big red tomato. Here's another tomato. Oh, this is like the 4th day in a row. Evidence of a squirrel getting into the tomatoes. There's a red one right there. I'm gonna go ahead and pick it before it even gets a chance to get into it. But I don't think it'll really matter because once I pick it and there's no red tomatoes, he'll go to the green tomatoes. He, she, whatever type of squirrel it is. I'm telling you right now, I know I've been complaining about this. I could just wring that squirrel's neck with my bare hands. I know the old saying, plant enough for you and the animals, but this animal seems to be eating what should be mine and his. And he's gotten into this one too. Sorry for the camera angle at the ground. I'm a little disgusted. Those are some nice green ones right there. I wouldn't doubt it if he'll get into those. This is what I've cut of the okra today. A little more than what I cut yesterday. I see a bunch of little ants on them and a little insect damage on the leaves. So I'm gonna dust them with some Diatomaceous Earth. And this is a trick that Jeffrey uses with the Diatomaceous Earth. This is just something that one of the plants came in, and it has the little 4 holes in the bottom. It sprinkles really well. As long as the plant isn't too tall, it dusts really easy. Now we do have a duster over there that I have used with the crank with the little yellow on it. But this works really quickly, and your arms and your hand doesn't get tired. You can see the little insect damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and dust these.
Picking the last of my green beans, actually pulling them. As you can see, I'm pulling them and putting them right where they lay. These are some of the ones that I've been picking. Not the best ones, but I'm not gonna let them go to waste. So what I'm doing, I'm picking them up by the root and I'm throwing them back in the aisle. I'm gonna let them dry out, and then I'm gonna tiller this up because beans make great fertilizer. They put nitrogen back in the soil. So instead of throwing them away, I'm gonna put them right back in the soil.
That's how much of that grapevine I had to cut down. It was hanging over. The grapes are just overloaded on this bush. They're still a little hard though, so not ready. Here's one, looks like I'm gonna have to take off because it's rotten, but they're still a little too hard. but something has eaten them. There were a bunch of grapes over here on the bottom. Let's see if we can see. And something is definitely eating those. These right through here. No, they look like they're ready, but they're not.